This is a tutorial on the RSVPMaker WordPress plugin, which allows you to add a calendar of events to your website. And those events can also include registration. So here's an example of an event for which we're getting people to a dinner. We need people to sign up for in advance, and we would like them to pay in advance too. So I can pick whether I want just the dinner or the dinner plus the reception. Put in my contact information, and you can customize this whole form to the information that you want people to supply. Here I'm going to choose my meal. I could put in information for a guest and also put in their meal preferences. I'm going to submit that, and it'll prompt me to pay by PayPal. You can also have a simple event listing. It doesn't ask for an RSVP, doesn't try and collect money from people, but lets folks know where and when your organization is meeting and gives you something that you can promote on Facebook and Twitter and via your email newsletter. To show you the basics, let's start with a website where everything's been reset to the defaults. So we need to go in and turn on RSVPMaker. And right away, it's going to prompt me to set the time zone for the website. This has become increasingly important as I've gotten into setting automated reminders. For example, for a webinar coming up, I want to remind people a couple of hours before the event that they ought to tune in. So to make that more reliable, I want to make sure that I set the correct time zone, and there's some other things that I might want to do to make that more accurate as well, which I'll get into in a subsequent tutorial. This is a long list, but I can find New York, which corresponds to the East Coast region where I am. It also suggests that I create a page called Calendar, or it could be called Events, it could be called anything really, but a place for the calendar to live on the site. And it gives me a prompt that I can create that with one click. So I'll just do that for right now. Now, this plugin has accumulated a lot of options over the years, a lot of things you can turn on and off. So from the settings screen, you can set defaults for many of these things. For example, if the majority of your events should include certain contact information or location information, you can set some default content for all events, and every time you do add new event, that information will be waiting for you there in the body of the post. There's also an event templates function where if you have a specific type of event where the event may occur on the first Tuesday of the month, you can have the template project out those dates and have the standard meeting and contact information associated with that event set from the template. We're not going to get into all that for right now because I'm going to start with the basics. We could set RSVPs to be collected for all events by default, and again, you can modify that per event. So we're pretty much going to leave everything at the defaults for right now. But just scrolling down, I want to show that you can customize the confirmation message that people get to include more specific information. You can have instructions for the form. You can customize the RSVP form in a couple of different ways. There is a little form generation wizard here that will pop up. You can customize the styling on the RSVP link if you don't like the red, white, and blue styling. And there are also some options for improving the delivery of email confirmation messages and notifications to the administrator. Again, those can be important, but I'm not going to mess with them for right now. So leaving everything at the defaults. Well, let me touch on one more thing. There is also a whole email invitation mechanism built into RSVPMaker, which you can also use for sending different kinds of email newsletters. You can tie this to a MailChimp account. So there's some basic instructions for that here. In addition, you can send messages to members of your site. If it's a membership-based site where people have WordPress accounts, you can send them individual messages that way, or you can send messages to a list of people who signed up for one of your events. If you're doing some of that stuff for spam regulation reasons, you should put in your mailing address and your company name. And again, there are a lot of options to set, but we'll skip over them for right now. So, creating a first event. Well, part of the advantage here is we're taking advantage of the same editing controls that we would have for a blog post or any other kind of WordPress content. So I can add a title for my event. So I could have many paragraphs of information, I can have images, I can have pretty much anything I would have in a standard blog post. But I also typically want to set a date for my event because I want these listed in calendar order rather than an order of when they were published. So I pick a time. Again, my standard time for all events is 7 p.m., but I can change that to be whatever I need it to be. I may or may not want to specify what the end time will be, but I can set this one to be an hour. And again, there's a bunch of other options here. So let's see what it looks like with just the defaults. Okay, so we have an informational event. It says when we're going to be meeting. It says the time zone, which is an option that's turned on for this site, but it doesn't ask me for an RSVP yet. So if we want to turn that on, we go in here and we checked collect RSVPs. Again, there's a bunch of different options we can set. There are things that are specific to organizing webinar events. I've been doing a bunch of YouTube Live based webinars, so that's something you have access to. And then after we save this, there are options to set reminders. Again, I said that there are some special considerations about timing, accurate timing of those reminders that I'll get into in a subsequent tutorial. But for now, we're just going to collect RSVPs using the standard form. And the standard form asks me to specify yes or no, asks me for my name, and includes a space to put in the names of guests. So I should be able to do this right now. It's showing my email address already filled in. It's picking that up from my WordPress user account because I'm logged in. Normally it would be a blank form. Add a note. So now it says one person has shown up. It shows me here on the screen this thank you message. And if I check my email, I actually should see that I got a confirmation message as the person who signed up. In this case, I'm also the event organizer, so I should also get an email saying that this guy named David Carr signed up. So that's the basic operation. There are a lot of things we can do to elaborate on top of that, but this is where we get started.